the spotlight, shine them bright. Gonna have a brand new show tonight with glitz and glam on the marquee. Perhaps a Tony nominee. Stars beam brightly, see them glow. Sell out nightly, SRO. It's time to applaud the Broadway Beat. Stars beam brightly, see them glow in the footlights of a show. Life is sweet on the world's most famous street.
Tickets, please.
Take a seat
Cue the band.
and have your feet to the rhythm of the Broadway Beat. The Broadway Beat. Broadway Beat.
Hello, I'm Richard Ridge, and welcome to Broadway Beat, our behind-the-scenes look at the very best of what the New York theater has to offer. This week, it's the return of a William Inge classic, and then some of the theater's finest sing for a wonderful charity when we drop by the American Airlines Theater for the one-night-only sold-out concert, Broadway Backwards 3, which benefited the LGBT Community Center here in New York City. But let's start things off at the opening night celebration of Manhattan Theater Club's new production of that William Inge classic, Come Back Little Sheba, which is playing at MTC's Biltmore Theater. It welcomes home to Broadway Emmy Award-winning actress S. Apatha Murkison. The production, which is directed by Michael Pressman, also stars Kevin Anderson, and making their Broadway debuts, Zoe Kazan and Brian J. Smith. Apatha Murkison plays Lola, a faded beauty queen trapped in a lonely marriage to Doc, played by Kevin Anderson, a recovering alcoholic on the brink of relapse. When a pretty young woman, Marie, played by Zoe Kazan, becomes a boarder in their cluttered Midwest home, where she is joined by her boyfriend Turk, played by Brian J. Smith, their lives are unsettled as unspoken passions rise to the surface.
You remember those walks we used to take down to the old chapel where it was so quiet and still?
In the spring, a young man's fancy turns pretty fancy.
I was pretty then, wasn't I, Doc? You remember the first time you kissed me? You were as shy as a young girl. I believe, Doc, you trembled so. We had been going together the whole year, and you were always so shy. And then for the first time, you just grabbed me and kissed me. Tears came to your eyes. You said you'd love me forever and ever.
Well, I'd never read it or seen it, and there was some talk about me possibly doing it in L.A. like last summer, where they did it at the Taper, the Culver City space. But I was somewhere else. I was in Scotland or something like that. And, so there had been some interest in wanting to know if I was interested. And but anyway, I didn't read it. And so I was like, I wonder I never read that play. I wonder. So when I came back, when I was back from traveling around, I went to go see it. And I was like, damn, I wish I would have known about this. I wish someone had been more aggressive or something. And that was how I was introduced to this production, not only the play. I actually went. I'd never read it. I just saw it completely blind, naked, just seeing it, the production as it was with Apatha and most of the cast. And Michael's great direction. I mean, the design and the set. I mean, he's added all that stuff, like seeing the bedrooms, and the original stage production didn't have that. So you're seeing all these things happen at the same time, and I think it's just brilliant. So I saw that and saw that, wow, this is a beautiful production, and Apatha, what a great choice for her, because she's usually plays these kind of tough roles. So to see her play this gentle part of herself, it was just clearly a great opportunity and a great part. I mean, it's sort of like Lola's the heart of the piece, and I think Doc's like the heartbeat, because he has to his problems kind of drive the whole thing through. The drunk scene is it's the big event of the play, and that's what everything falls apart after that, just a great play.
At what part during the process did you get him? Did you say, I really have a grasp of Doc now? Was it during rehearsals? Was it during previews?
Really? No. It's the most frustrating part, I can't tell you, because it's like there's so many traps laid. Because first of all, it's like, okay, he's an alcoholic. Okay, when is the big drunk scene coming? So the audience is you got a target. That's just, they're watching. When is that going to happen, But also, he's very, in 2007, he's so arch and such a Puritan that, my biggest task was to get the audience to buy that. So it didn't seem like, give me a break. Because if the audience, in a way you do that a little bit, but if the audience is doing that too much, then it's like they don't believe you, So that was the biggest trick, is to try to make this part believable without coming off like just some arrogant jerk. Do you know what I mean? Because you got to like him in the beginning. Because once he comes in with the axe, it's not a sympathetic part. So you got to somehow. And I don't know if I'm accomplishing that. It changes every night. You just, that's the biggest challenge, to make this guy likable, so that when he does fall apart, you actually feel for him and her.
A person doesn't start a conversation that way.
No, start it any way you want to.
Two people should have something to talk about, like politics, or psychology, or religion.
Oh, how about sex?
Turk.
Have you read the Kinsey report, Miss Buckholder?
I should say
how old were you when you had your first affair, Miss Buckholder? And have you ever had relations with your grandfather?
Oh, well, it was one of the first plays I read. It was low on the bookshelf in the house, so I could reach it. And at the time, I thought it was about a woman who lost her dog. So I've learned one or two things since then. I'm attracted to characters that have something a little wrong with them. And I think Marie has something a little bit wrong with her. She's a girl who doesn't have a lot of parenting, not a lot of guidance, and I think for the first time in her life, she's feeling her power. She's extremely loved in this family, and she's, got all these men sort of around her wanting her, and I think she's in the privileged position of being like a little self-centered and really self-absorbed in the space of time in the play, and she hasn't learned yet that there's consequences to actions, or, how to be an adult, and I thought she was wonderful, not just a straightforward ingenue.
I think you have to play against a kind of cockiness and a kind of shallowness. He could really come off as shallow, and I think from the very beginning, even like auditioning for him, I knew that I wanted Turk to be someone who was complex, someone who came from a place of actual insecurity and real love for Marie. And is very protective and jealous of her. So you can't play him as a cartoon. You got to bring everything that feels awkward and love about yourself to this guy, and try and connect and not present a cliche or a cartoon.
I think we should all take better care of ourselves, don't you?
Well, if you ask me, lady, that's the problem with the world today. We're not taking care of ourselves.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised.
Every morning, I do 40 push-ups before I eat my breakfast.
Push-ups?
Like this. That's good for shoulder development.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you want to feel my shoulder?
Well, yeah. It's like a rock.
Yeah, I can do 79 without stopping.
79?
Yeah, now feel my arm.
Well, Lola is just such a different kind of woman. When this play was done, I wasn't even born yet. I was born in 1952. And I think of all the decades in the 20th century, the 50s were probably the scariest. We were in the Cold War. We had just come out of World War II, Korea. The mores had changed. Innocence was something that was held onto. So I think Lola was a woman who had been quite sheltered in her life and found a man that she adored and unfortunately got pregnant. And for her, it was the end of her relationship with her parents and with her father especially, whom I feel she probably adored. And he adored her. So everything for Lola sort of stopped after she graduated high school. And Doc is really her connection to the world. She really craves attention and warmth and just, love. And with his alcoholism, I think the interesting thing is that she probably is stronger than she ever imagined, because she had to take care of Doc in those times. So she's a very interesting woman, a woman that I have some idea of. I've known certain women, different women who have, given up their lives for the men in their lives and done everything for them, no matter how they've been treated. And I think that today she would probably either be in a shelter. She may have gone to Al-Anon. She might be in therapy. And I think that's why the play has such resonance now, is because we understand those things. I mean, I'm in menopause. Lola's in menopause. I mean, her very first line is, I used to be able to sleep till noon. I can't anymore. That's what happens when you're in menopause.
I have another question for you. At what point during the process, maybe it was LA, did you find her when you said, I really have a grasp on this woman? Was it during rehearsals or was it during the preview period out there?
It's still been happening. I mean, I just really sort of connected in a very different way here. I think I had a meltdown in LA and thought, maybe I've made a mistake. Maybe I can't do this. But, Michael was very strong, and he knew that this was something that I could do. And it's just been, I keep finding her. That's the only way to answer that. I keep finding her.
And just being back on Broadway, how exciting that is.
It's fabulous. It's been 17 years, so I'm having the time of my life.
The American Airlines Theater recently hosted the one-night-only sold-out concert, Broadway Backwards 3, which benefited the LGBT Community Center here in New York City. The evening featured a diverse group of male singers singing primarily women's songs and female singers singing male songs. The evening was conceived and directed by Robert Bartley. Seth Rudetsky was the host, and the evening's co-chairs were John Kander and Terrence McNally. Here's a look at Broadway Backwards 3.
Well, I think it shows the diversity and the passion the center evokes in people, and the generosity that people on their night off want to give back, and they realize that there's so many people that need the center to help them realize it's okay to be who they are. We've all been through that process, and the center is so important, helping these younger people to stand up and be counted for themselves. And this display of talent tonight was awesome. And the generosity, as I said, it's their night off, and actors work hard. And that seventh night, they'd like to rest, but they chose to come out and support this center. And that's wonderful and very moving to me.
You know, Robert Bartley said everybody they asked said yes, unless they were off doing a film somewhere. And that says a lot.
Absolutely. No refusals on this one. So I don't know why I kept getting thanked. I'd ask people, they'd say yes. So.
But I know that your partner is on the board of the center, right, Tom?
Yes, he's on the board, and he is the chairman of the 25th anniversary year of celebration. So this is the kickoff event for the entire year.
You always dream of doing roles like this, not necessarily like you know you're going to do it, but you get a chance to do it for once in your life, and you get to sing this material that you hear in your ear. Some other woman or some other man sings it, and you finally get to sing it, and it's such a great cause, and it really helps the people in that center, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it. And it's amazing how many people came out to be a part of it. Nobody got paid. No, everybody behind the scenes and the orchestra, we all just did it for free, and because we just love what we do, and we love to give that to the people. So I think the audience loved it. We had a sold-out house, and I was really proud of what we did tonight.
It was a most wonderful audience, probably the most supportive I've ever been a part of, and it was great. The talent level was
definitely
super.
Yeah, top-notch performers, and everyone cares so much about gay and lesbian rights and kids and the future for everybody. So it's great to see everyone coming together and making this happen.
And it's nice, too, watching these performers because everyone appreciates each other. Everyone was standing in the wings and watching, and standing in the back of the house and watching each other. So that was nice. You don't get that in L.A. so much.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the number that you did tonight.
We sang Take Me or Leave Me from Rent.
Great lesbian duet. Broadway lesbian duet.
Mainly because I've done Rent before and I knew the words.
Well, it's great. I mean, it's great to play stuff, to do it for your peers. They love it. They like to see you in a context that they don't necessarily see you in all the time, and it's just great fun for everybody. And it's a way for them to honor you, and a way for you to honor them.
And just talk about what it meant singing this beautiful song that might have been yours at one point back in 1972, how it felt. You sing it so beautifully. What that show meant to you and what this song means to you.
Well, it was my first Sondheim show, and I think it was, at that point, I thought it was the best musical ever written. It was the most beautiful musical I mean, the way it was staged and the way it was costumed was quite extraordinary. It was like an ennui play come to life, and it was really something special. And I was very, very fortunate to be part of it.
Just when I'd stopped opening doors, finally knowing the one that I wanted was yours, making my entrance again with my usual flair, sure of my lines, no one is there.
The Gay and Lesbian Center is 25 years old, and, quite frankly, the Gay and Lesbian Center is one of those great New York institutions now that is not only great for the limited community, it's for all of the community. So I'm just very proud. I'm also just very excited to be here. It was great to sing and dance again. I loved it. I can't wait to do it again in another show.
It was magnificent. I'm actually taken aback by how the Broadway community has responded to the event. And I've always felt like the gay community has supported the Broadway community for so long, and to see the reverse happening is overwhelming to me. And literally every star we've approached or asked has either said, oh, I want to do it, but I'm doing a movie, or I'm there. And that's been truly wonderful for us.
And how important this event is for the center, and how much money you raised tonight?
I have no idea how much money, but I think it's up there. It's very important to the center. The center does a lot of the funding from the center comes from corporate sponsorship and events like this. This is how it stays alive. There's a whole diverse group of people that come to the center, but a lot of the people that come to the center, there's people that don't have any money, and so they can't become members of the center necessarily, but they still use the center as a service place, and so these events really fund those kinds of programs, and that's what's terrific about it.
How long did it take you to put this year's show together?
I'm embarrassed to say 4 months, and there's the Little Mermaid. Come over here.
I didn't hear you.
Hi.
We love her too. Get over here. These are my two girls.
This is one of my favorite numbers is these two ladies. I was so excited about these two ladies doing that number. I couldn't wait. I kept telling all my friends, oh my God, you got to see the act closer. These two beautiful, beautiful women.
We had so much fun too.
Doing it. Yeah.
It was good. This girl can dance. Oh my gosh.
No.
A chorus line, star of a chorus line, star of Little Mermaid. I mean, just talk about the number you did tonight and what it meant to you to be a part of this event.
It was really, especially doing this number for me, it's cool, and I love my Titus, so getting to do one of his numbers, I was like, and then it's him who created the idea of, we were at an audition situation, because I'm like, how am I going to do this number justice? And then with her, I mean, she was totally my muse.
I think it was awesome how we kind of melted chorus line and mermaid together. It was just an awesome concept. And it was just so fun to work with this one, and it was just to brainstorm this all up.
Rehearsals were a blast. These women were so creative. We laughed ourselves silly. I can't tell you the things that we did that we actually had to cut from the number because it shouldn't be on a stage. I'm telling you right now.
And I'm a princess.
And she's a princess. She's a Disney princess.
Now's my moment. Get her in the other room. But I better do it soon. No time will be better. She doesn't say a word, and she won't say a word until you kiss a girl.
Growing up as a fat child and as somebody who was a singer, it never seemed like I fit in. And I know it's really tough. It's really hard being in a position of not feeling like you belong anywhere. And I think what's great about the center is it gives everybody a sense of belonging. You walk through those doors and we rehearse there, you just get a feeling like, and New York is a tough place. So I know New York can be very welcoming and very opening, but it's also a very fast and tough place. And to walk through those doors, you do feel very safe, and you feel like people care. So what could be wrong with that? I'm happy to be part of this. And, you get to be with a lot of people you've known over the years. Been in this business a very long time. And, it's always great to be with the people who care enough to be part of these benefits. A lot of people get tapped to do these, and you see a lot of the same faces because they're the ones who are willing to be part of it. And it's a compliment to be asked, and it's a thrill and a privilege to be part of it.
How to handle a woman, mark me well, I will tell you, sir, the way to handle a woman is to love her, simply love her.
Wow,
it's hard to sum up into one sentence what tonight means. I think it's so incredible when you get to recontextualize things, and for better or for worse, our stories aren't told as often as they could and should be. And so when we get to take, even if it's out of context, to have a love song between two men or two women, it shows how universal all of it is, and I think that's pretty special. But then it's also phenomenal that a community center, which probably often gets overlooked, frankly, in terms of the kinds of things that need support from the community, can get this kind of response from the community. That's pretty incredible. So if our doing this helped do that, that's great.
I have my own reasons for supporting and really caring about the Gay and Lesbian Center. I actually was a member of a gay youth group in Spokane, Washington when I was like 18, 19. It was a very important part of me coming out and just really feeling good about myself and being around other gay people, like gays and lesbians, and I'd never met anybody that was transgendered, and it was really important and really relevant, and so anytime I can, support, it was fantastic. We also started a gay volleyball league, and our team was called Safe Sets. Get it? Safe Sets? Thought of that. But no, it's great. I did the first Broadway Backwards that they had, and it was great. It was awesome, and it's so lovely to see them actually grow and be now part, on the Broadway, American Airlines Theater.
Let's talk about, the amount of money they raised tonight for this wonderful organization. Just the audience tonight. This was like, an audience that Broadway Cares gets. This is one of the finest audiences. Talk about the reaction tonight.
I know, we were saying backstage. I don't really have days off anymore. It's always just, what benefit are you doing? Until you can have a lot of money to give, all I can give is time, and so this is what I do. I love it. I was talking to Anthony and Seth and Lainey backstage. Lainey, sorry about that. I dropped another name. Lainey Kazan. Awesome. It was so polished. Normally, benefits are kind of, is this on? And, kind of thrown up. My hat's off to the creators and the administration for this. It was amazing. It was really, really great. Yeah, and the audience, please,
Oh, how to be